Welcome to the Snowstorm Horror, a story that will leave you questioning the reality of the world around you. It was a typical winter day in the small town of Blackwood. The streets were covered in thick blanket of snow, and the residents were bundled up against the cold. But little did they know something sinister was lurking just beyond the edges of the town. The first sign of trouble came in the form of a stranger. He was a tall, imposing figure dressed in all black. He arrived in a dark sedan, his face obscured by a hooded cloak. He seemed to be searching for something or someone. The stranger began to wander the streets of Blackwood, his eyes scanning the windows of houses as if looking for something. The residents of the town began to feel uneasy, but they couldn't quite put their finger on why. A young woman named Sarah decided to investigate. She followed the stranger, keeping a safe distance behind him. She watched as he stopped in front of a small, depleted house at the edge of town. The stranger entered the house and Sarah followed, her heart pounding. Inside, she found a scene of horror. The walls were covered in blood, and the floor was littered with the bodies of the previous inhabitants. Sarah ran from the house, her mind reeling from what she had just seen. She told the other residents of Blackwood about the stranger and the house of horror, but they didn't believe her. They thought she had been imagining things, that the stress of the snowstorm had gotten to her. But Sarah knew the truth. The stranger was still out there, hiding in the snowstorm, waiting for his next victims. And as the snow continued to fall, the residents of Blackwood realized too late that they were in grave danger. The stranger began to stalk the streets of Blackwood, preying on the residents one by one. His victims were found with their throats slashed, their blood frozen in the snow. No one was safe, not even in the safety of their own homes. And the residents were desperate for a way to stop the stranger. They turned to the local law enforcement for help, but the stranger was too powerful, too cunning. He seemed to always be one step ahead of them. It wasn't until one of the residents, a man named Jack, decided to take matters into his own hands. He had lost his wife and child to the stranger and was determined to bring him to justice. Jack followed the stranger through the snow, determined to catch him. He knew the stranger was not just a man, but something more sinister. As he followed the tracks, he noticed something strange. The stranger footprint seems to change, becoming larger. Jack knew this could only mean one thing. The stranger was not human. Jack's pursuit led him to the edge of town, to a dark and forbidden forest. As he entered the woods, the wind picked up and the snow began to fall harder. He could feel something watching him, following him. Jack pressed on, determined to find the stranger. He knew that time was running out, that the stranger was getting closer to his next victim. But as he reached the heart of the forest, he realized that he was not alone. Out of the shadows emerged a terrifying creature. Unlike anything Jack has ever seen before, it was massive, with fur as white as snow and eyes that glowed with a sinister red light. Jack knew that he was no match for the creature, but he fought with all might. He used everything he had, from his fist to his hunting knife, but it was all not enough. The creature overpowered him, and he knew that he was about to die. Just as the creature was about to deliver the final blow, a pack of wolves emerged from the forest. They had been drawn to the creature howling, and they attacked it ferociously. The creature fought back, but it was no match for the pack. They brought it down, and as it lay dying on the ground, it transformed back into the stranger. The stranger's last words were, "You will never be safe, not even in the safety of your own homes." Jack knew the stranger was right. The creature would always be out here, waiting for its next victim. And as the snow continued to fall, the residents of Blackwood knew that they would never truly be safe again. This is a story, one that will leave you questioning the reality of the world around you. Remember, always be aware of your surroundings, especially in the middle of a snowstorm. You never know what may be lurking just beyond the edges of your own town.